What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets'd podcast. Just finished a series in San Diego right before the All-Star break, the last series of the first half of the season. Did not win the series. Didn't win the series, unfortunate. But we have some stuff to talk about here. Of course, Kodai Senga, Pete Alonso heading out to Seattle for the All-Star game, the Home Run Derby, the series against the Padres. Lots of things to talk about. MLB draft is currently happening while we are recording this. So there's a lot going on here. We'll talk about everything with you guys as always. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, listening, all that good stuff, make sure you follow us on our social media at Mets'd, METSDUP on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you're looking for the YouTube version of this, go subscribe to the New York Mets YouTube channel. That's where you'll be able to find it. And if you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever it is, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. James, still out in Vegas, Sin City. How are we feeling? How has your Vegas experience been?
Vegas experience was a lot. This is the first time in Vegas. Also, I just wanted to quickly apologize to the listeners. I'm staying at a hotel in Vegas that has might be maybe the worst Wi-Fi in the state of Nevada and Nevada, whatever. Which I have for working hard and cleaning up a little bit, but recording this one on my phone because the internet is so bad. So we're using data here, and you guys can see the angle is probably a little bit different, but we're doing what we can for the listeners. But Vegas is crazy. This was a kind of a nuts Vegas weekend because they had the NBA Summer League really getting hot, and they had a huge UFC fight last night. So I've been seeing like professional athletes every which way. I got mentioned to you guys, CJ Stroud, Garrett Wilson on the way in. Like the last couple nights at the casinos, the clubs, I've seen Zach LaVine, Mikal Bridges, Jason Tatum, Chet Holmgren.
Wait, you saw Zach LaVine?
Yes, and he went to Seattle. Yes,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I know. I saw him. We saw him Friday evening, Friday late night, or Saturday early. One of those two. And then craziest one, got major starstruck moment. Greg Popovich.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pop.
Huge one.
That's crazy. Yeah.
As I've never been to a city like this that has such like a density of celebrities and stars. Cause we live in New York. There's people walking among us all the time. Like visit California and stuff. But like Vegas, there's not that many other places to go. Like everyone's here. Like everyone's mixed mosh together. It's complete. Like everyone's around each other, and that's it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a little jealous. Vegas is a fun place. I'm due to go to Vegas. I've still never been there as a 21-year-old, and it looks like so much fun. So I'm jealous. Maybe we'll make a Mets boys trip out to Vegas in the offseason or something like that. We'll see how it goes. But let's go ahead, and before we talk about the series, just talk about the little bit of the All-Star festivities going on. Of course, when you guys are listening to us on Monday, the Home Run Derby will be going on. Pete Alonso comes in as the number 2 seed because it goes by current home runs in the season. Pete comes in at the number 2 seed with a first-round matchup against J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez, runner-up last year. Very, very good player. I mean, what do you think about Pete's odds in the Home Run Derby this year, James?
I think that the way they kind of organized the bracket is a little bit ridiculous because it looks like basically the 4 favorites are on one side of the bracket, and then the other side of the bracket is like, I don't know what we're gonna get out of these guys. It's Pete, it's J-Rod, and then it's Vlad and Robert on that one side. Mookie. Yeah, and then the other side's Adley, Robert, Adolis, and who's the 8th person? You got this.
The Adolis and Randy Rosarena.
Rosarena, yeah, that's it. So just the Pete Julio first round matchup is like that's basically feels like kind of like semifinals esque, and we saw those two go head to head last year. And I don't know. I mean, we see Pete dominate home run derbies in the past. Like he seems very locked in for it, very ready for it. Could be the second player ever to win 3 times. I still, like I say, I don't like Pete's odds. I love Pete's odds, but he definitely got a bad draw in that first round.
Yeah, and especially because if he wins and goes to the next round, he might be going up against Vlad Guerrero Jr., who we know he had that like amazing home run derby final in 2019 versus Vladdy in Cleveland. Like the path is going to be very, very difficult, but Pete is one of the best home run derby competitors of all time. I believe he also has the best odds if you're looking at that kind of stuff. So Pete in the home run derby, I think he should have a good chance. He's got a new pitcher this time too. He apparently made a promise to a childhood friend, manager, coach kind of thing. And the guy called him out. I was like, hey, you promised me. And Pete's like, all right, let's do it. Sending you to Seattle. Let's see how he does. I'm rooting for Pete. We need a win. It'd be nice to see Pete, like you said, join Ken Griffey in Seattle and be the third or the second person to ever win 3 home run derbies.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong here, but Pete's the 2 seed and Robert's the 1 seed, right?
Yes.
And they have the same amount of home runs.
Yeah, I don't know what the tiebreaker is. Maybe it's because it's an American League ballpark and he's in the American League. I don't know.
Yeah, because I think Pete probably has less plate appearances than Robert as well. Like that, and the difference between the 2 seed and the 1 seed in this tournament, like, is pretty huge right now. That's a shame.
Although, Don't count out Adley. I know everybody's counting out Adley. Nobody thinks he's going to be able to do it. Don't count him out. He's a Pacific Northwest guy. He's back home. It could be big for him getting those hometown vibes a little bit.
It's so bizarre having a catcher in the home run derby, though. Like, that's the craziest thing. Like, I don't even recall ever a catcher making it far, at least in our lifetimes.
No, I think it's been a minute. And being a lefty, I think, is, like John's saying in the chat, a little bit of a tough thing in Seattle. It's not great there, but we'll see how it goes. Like you said, wishing the best for Pete, hoping he wins it out there. He's also going to be in the All-Star game, which should be Tuesday, along with Kodai Senga, who got announced earlier this week as a first-time All-Star, filling in as a replacement for guys who just cannot be in it because they pitched this weekend. So shout out to Kodai Senga. Super, super excited for him. We talked about it in the last episode, how good he has been this season. I think he's top 10 in the National League, or maybe even baseball in ERA among starting pitchers. Very much deserving, quietly, to be on the All-Star team.
Yeah, honestly, like, shame on us for going through Kodai's season and all his amazing stats and how good he has been, especially compared to other pitchers in the National League. Literally, last episode, that was 36 hours before he was named for the All-Star team, and neither of us, like, putting the connection together in our brains. Like, oh, Kodai Senga should go and be an All-Star. But no, incredibly deserving, coming off his best start of the year. I feel like that always helps as well. Just a rookie being named for the All-Star team. We know, of course, it's a little different, him being a rookie, but it's amazing. Like, it's such a great accolade for a guy as he transitions to a new team, new city, new country, like new game of baseball basically is being played, and he's just excelled so much so quickly.
No, he's been awesome, and it gave us good vibes going into the series with the Padres. Game 1, of course, Verlander versus Darvish. We got to see our arch nemesis on the mound because every time we seemingly face Yu Darvish, he just absolutely shoves. This game was interesting. It started off a little rocky there with the 2-1 lead for the Padres after the first, but Verlander ended up like kind of just settling in and doing that Justin Verlander thing where it's like, oh, he's a really good pitcher. Guy who won the Cy Young last year.
It was funny because going into this game, you're like, all right, it's Verlander, Darvish. Like, this is going to be, like, you get ready for a classic pitcher's duel. Like, really dig in for one. It's going to be tough to get a run. And then it was 2-1 after the first inning. I think it was like 3-3 after it was the 4th to the 5th. That's a Lindor home run. But Verlander did have, it was tough for those first 3 innings. That was a slog. That was really, he labored through that. But then he didn't allow a hit after the 3rd inning and got through 6 and only gave up 2 runs. Like, that's really good. But then you watch Verlander start after start this year. You do feel like that fastball is still lacking that oomph that we're used to seeing Justin Verlander have over the course of his career. Manny Machado and Trent Grisham's RBI doubles both came off of Verlander's fastball. It just got 2 whiffs on 17 swings again. And I kind of want to keep contextualizing like how much different Verlander's fastball in the strike zone is this year compared to last year's. I'm talking about his zone contact rate a lot on the show on Verlander fastballs. It was 92% by the Padres on Friday evening. That means 92% of the fastballs that they swung at in the zone, they hit against Justin Verlander. It's a really high number. That's up to 90% on the season for Verlander's fastball. It was 87% last year, just to compare, just differently, to talk about a different pitcher from a different era. That was 74% in 2019, when that fastball was still really height of his powers. And that's 90% for Verlander, like I said before, and league average in that is 84%. So right now, Justin Verlander, just based on that context, has a more hittable fastball in the zone than a lot of other pitchers, than league average, which that's something that he's leaned on forever. We've seen him, though, make a lot of good adjustments this year, throwing more sliders, more curveballs. He really leaned on both of those pitches Friday night. They really helped him get through those last few innings because, again, he's just not getting swings and misses in that fastball. And this was another start where I think Justin Verlander might have started to make a bit of an adjustment with this new fastball now, where he had more arm side run on that pitch than any start he's had on that fastball than any other start he's had this year so far. An arm side run is like basically when I'm throwing the pitch, it's going like away from where like my natural flow of my arm's going to go towards the arm side. So if I'm a right-handed pitcher and I'm throwing a ball with arm side run and it starts down the middle, it will end up a little bit it'll start a little inside to a right-handed batter, away from a left-handed batter. That's it. And he's been getting a little bit more his last few starts. And I kind of looked at the heat maps of where he was throwing his fastball in this start, and a lot of it more was low and away, especially to right-handed batters. Very often, Justin Verlander had really just like throwing everything high fastball because that's the recipe. That's how his fastball had the most life and got the most swings and misses. But didn't really challenge as many people up in the zone this start, especially relative to again his career and his first couple months this season. So maybe that's the adjustment that Justin Verlander's making. Get more of that run on it. Not going to get the carry and the hop on it, and try and get some more weak contact and called strikes.
Yeah. No, I mean, you could see those adjustments for sure in the game. And I saw something on Twitter earlier today about how sliders are being hit more often than they have been recently, like for better success rates as well. And it felt like Kurt Verlander was really going to that curveball a lot, and it was very effective in this game, which is just something that you see from a veteran pitcher, finding what's working, finding what's not, making those adjustments mid-game. And like you said, it may not have been his best start by any means, but he did enough to keep us very much in this game, which is exactly what we needed because the bats were swinging it well in this one. It was a fun game to watch. It was fun to watch Mets baseball this past week.
It was, but it was also like it was in sections. Like we got to 3-3 after Lindor homer, Vogelback single. Then it sat 3-3 for a really long time. Remember, Adam Alfino got a huge out of Fernando Tatis in the 8th inning after Soto hit a double. Then we challenged in the 9th, loaded the bases, couldn't break through, and then got to finally 10th inning after like an hour and a half, no runs being scored, just completely broke it open. Beautiful rally, heart of the order. Jeff had a double, Alvarez hit a single, then Lindor got the last one in. It was a very good game that's in the middle of a very good week for the Franciscos.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the Franciscos again, let's talk about Francisco Lindor, because I know we were bringing up the All-Star thing. This is going to be the last time we get to really just moan and groan about it. But the fact that Francisco Lindor is not an All-Star is absolute poppycock. It's crazy. I mean, you look at the guy's numbers this year, and he's just casually just really good again. Like, he had a little bit of a slow start. We know that. But since that slow start, and specifically since, some stuff had been going on since that Cardinals game, Francisco Lindor has just been absolutely on fire. The guy has been crushing it. He's got his OPS all the way up to 800. He keeps getting hits, extra base hits, getting on base more, raising that average. He's just the guy that you'll want. Again, say it all the time. Take away the batting average number, and if you just look at the counting numbers, you'd be like, oh, Francisco Lindor has 19 home runs and 60 RBIs at the All-Star break with 13 stolen bases. Yep, that's my $300 million shortstop right there. That's incredible pace.
And he's got the WRC plus back to around 120, which is where he sat for a lot of last year. Everything's just ticking up. Also, you look at Francisco Lindor. Again, last time we're going to moan and groan about this, but it's worth some more moaning and groaning. In terms of National League ranks, he leads all National League shortstops in doubles. He leads all National League shortstops in home runs by 3. He leads all National League shortstops in RBIs by 14. 14 more RBIs than any other shortstop in the National League. Yeah, he has 24 more RBIs than Dansby Swanson going into the All-Star break, who made the All-Star team. So he has a full Brandon Crawford amount of RBIs more than Dansby Swanson right now, the All-Star break. And again, not even knows the most prolific base stealer ever. Third of all National League shortstops in stolen bases. And let's check OPS, last one. Oh, first in all at OPS from qualified shortstops in National League as well.
Now, like I get left off.
Heading into the All-Star game, it's going to be 50 points higher than Dansby Swanson.
That guy get left off. How'd they pick Perdomo over him even when they had the opportunity to make it right? I don't understand. Should have been an All-Star, absolutely robbed. Francisco Alvarez, too, if it wasn't for the catching in the National League being so loaded with Sean Murphy and Will Smith, this guy also has legitimate beef to be a Major League All-Star. In the rookie, I mean, the year that he's having 17 homers, 35 RBIs, he's got the average up to 238 and the OPS at 809. I mean, we talk about it day after day. He got another home run in game 2. He's just so good. El Troll, because that's the nickname we're rocking. We're calling him El Troll. That is the nickname he likes. That is the one he has on his catcher's equipment. El Troll. Remember, those of you at home know why we don't call him the other one. Call him El Troll. He's just so good.
4 hits in this game on 4 hard hit balls. And it was just like and we talked about this when he was struggling when he first came up, where it's like you can just kind of feel when Francisco's like feeling himself based on his selectivity of pitches. Like he's not
just like the vibe.
Yeah, because he is still aggressive, but when he has to he's really commanding the strike zone, commanding the plate, like kind of owning the batter's box. You can see the difference in the confidence levels when he is hitting like that. And just completely, it's like, honestly, I'd love to talk to him about this because I feel like part of it, I remember we interviewed him way back when, it was about his own pitch recognition as a hitter that he takes from what he does behind the plate as a catcher, just understanding sequencing, trying to kind of get ahead of the pitcher, what they're going to throw next, and just feasting on the mistakes. It's at 21 years old still, because remember, guys, he's 21 years old. He's the youngest everyday catcher in Major League Baseball in 30 years. Just to get, they can put that out there every single episode. It's like scary to see what the potential he has.
Yeah, he's a freak. He also, after game 2, which I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but after game 2, is now second among 21-year-old catchers or younger for home runs in a season. Only got to catch Johnny Bench, and he's on pretty good pace. I think he might pass him based on how he's been swinging the bat lately. So super excited to see that those guys are playing well. Unfortunately, though, that would be the last win of the series. The win streak ended at 6. Truthfully, how nervous were you getting that we were going to have to eat a full pizza?
I wasn't nervous at all. I was super excited for it. I was going to be like,
what? I was excited. Yeah, I was just nervous.
Yeah. I didn't care. I don't care. What's worse that can happen? I guess somebody I'm out of commission for 2 or 3 days. That would have sucked. It would have been awful, but it's okay. It happens. Again, for a 10-game win streak, I'll put it down again. The Mets do a 10-game win streak coming out of the break. I will do a pizza again. You don't have to go in for it. You don't have to do it. But if the Mets ever win 10 games in a row, I'll break the gluten intolerance and I will eat pizza.
I'll definitely do something else, but I think I might like back away from dairy. Just Crohn's disease. I'm doing so well. Like we're knocking on wood over here. I don't want to really get a flare up going here, and the dairy might be doing that. The doctors were calling me. The doctors were listening. They're like, Mark, please don't eat dairy, please. Like you've been doing so well.
For listeners at home, most of the doctors, actually Mark's mom was really scared he was going to have to eat dairy. She was very nervous for him. She didn't want his stomach to hurt. But the winning streak would end on Saturday night. Also, just talk a little more about Vegas. I watched this game from the Stadium Swim at Circa.
Ooh.
It was like, I can't even comprehend how cool of an experience this was.
Didn't we weirdly meet the guy who like ran that
Yeah.
one night? Where were we out? I don't even remember. Was that in Arizona?
It might have been Miami.
Maybe.
Well,
I don't know.
yeah,
We met the guy who like runs it. But yeah, did you talk to him? Did you meet him or no?
No, it's just like you have like 12 massive screens on the roof of a hotel in Las Vegas, inside of a pool, like with a bar. And it's like, we sat there for 7 hours. And eventually, because all the baseball ended late when the UFC main card came on, so the Mets game was the only thing they were playing besides UFC. And they had 2 TVs dedicated to the Mets, flagging big UFC in the middle. And it was like, my friends were like, this is like a dream come true. I was like, I don't even like UFC. And I got the Mets on 2 massive screens outdoors. This is a dream come true. But that was cool. And it had a nice view, getting a nice tan, watching Blake Snell just completely run through the mess. The guy's been a pure buzzsaw this summer. And he does this like for 3 months a year, basically. And you just kind of hope you find him on the outsides of it, not on the inside of it. Because when he's on the inside of it, he's literally one of the best hitters in baseball. Mets only got 1 hit against Blake Snell in 6 innings. Also struck them out 11 times versus only 3 walks. That 1 hit was a total worm burner by Nimmo. He did hit it hard, but it was really just like all that could possibly be as a single. Usually the thing that kind of holds Blake Snell back is kind of navigating his pitch mix around like kind of not having the best control for like guys who could be considered have ace-like potential sometimes. But it's 7 whiffs for the Mets in the changeup on Saturday night. Most he's had in a game on that pitch all year. I think a big reason for that is because he sat 97 miles an hour with his fastball, which is the highest average fastball velocity he's had any start this year. And that is broken from his last start. So his last 2 starts now, Blake Snell keeps getting higher and higher average velocities. He's freaky. Like he gets like such a weird rap because I feel like the guy he is, like just even how he looks and sounds and some of the sound bites he's put out there. But like the fact that he has those 2 breaking balls, the curveball and the slider that go on different planes, and the changeup that has like when the fastball's working like this, like a 12, 13 mile an hour difference because he does throw 97 miles an hour from the left side with crazy extension. It's like if he was just like not Blake Snell, like we'd look at Blake Snell every single year like a guy who's like next up to be one of the next pitchers in baseball. And
dude is just like casually in the Cy Young conversation this year, like very casually, like one of the 3 best options right now.
He like could really be the favorite another 2 weeks because every single start he goes out and does this. He was crushed by the Boston Red Sox on May 19th of this year, and it was one he's Blake Snell not doing it again. His ERA was like almost 5 at the time, 6 weeks into the season. Since then, he's given up 4 earned runs in 53 innings, which is good for a 0.68 ERA and a 41% strikeout rate over 53 innings.
Yeah, no, it's pretty sick. I mean, like you said, yes, the offense like didn't hit, but you ran into a buzzsaw, like you said. Like Blake Snell right now, over the last 60 innings or whatever it is, 53, is the best pitcher in all of baseball. So it's like, what exactly are you going to do? Like, yes, we want to score. Yes, we want more runs. We want to try and win. But like, it wasn't it wasn't like this is bad Blake Snell.
Yeah, but also flip it around. Like David Peterson was super up for the task, like on our side.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. He like toe to toe, like two crafty lefties working against each other, David versus Blake, and he really keeps like doing these little things to like kind of push forward and be more effective. He was just a full kitchen sink guy Saturday night. Threw all 5 of his pitches at least 11% of the time, and found 10 total whiffs on it, and kept the Padres really at bay basically the entire game. Like similar to what happened with Scherzer on Ed Verlander. It was a bad start, and then just really settled in and got good. 10 total whiffs were really nice, and 6 of those 10 came on his slider and his curveball, which were weirdly his 2 fewest thrown pitches. So I think there's always still going to be a little bit of a tinker here, and maybe push those up and a couple less fastballs and sinkers and just use them all. Just completely use the whole banana peel, get your pitches moving everywhere. Something to work with. Another good step in the right direction for Peterson.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like he was catching a lot of heat early on Twitter. Like he gave up that kind of fluke 3-run home run to Matt Batten, which was a good pitch. The guy kind of just like lunged at it, kind of flicked his wrist, and he went out to left field. But besides like that one pitch, and the guys that got on before him all got on with little fluky hits too. It was like Peterson was catching a lot of flack for absolutely no reason. He pitched a very, very solid game. We say this all the time. gave us an opportunity to win against someone who was pitching like an ace. So 3 runs over the 5 innings or whatever they threw, like very, very, like you said, something to work on. Strong start from Peterson. I think he is really improved upon what we saw from the beginning of the year. Give a little shout out to John's guy here, Grant Hartwig, had looked good as well going into game 2, staying hot on the mound. The Alvarez home run, which is so funny. As soon as Blake Snell came out of the game, they put in Luis Garcia, bang, home run immediately, gave us some life, but the Padres bullpen shut us down. Hader was disgusting in the 9th inning. When that guy's on, it's impossible. And that's just kind of the way it was. You lose, the win streak is over, but you have a chance to win the series going into game 3. We didn't do it. I mean, Scherzer was inconsistent. He looked good, he looked bad. He looked good, he looked bad. It was a little bit all over the place.
No, it's Jekyll and Hyde. Scherzer. It's how it's been for the last year. I was explaining to one of my friends who I was with this morning. A lot, like some of this crew are big baseball guys, especially my boy Ross, but a lot of them really aren't huge baseball guys. So they're like, oh, I don't pay attention to baseball. Like, tell me what has happened to Max Scherzer. And I'm like, well, like the big thing has happened to Max Scherzer where it's been just like up and down season. Because I explained the fact that like went to spring training, made a start, got hurt. Rehabbed, came back, made a start, got suspended. And that took us to the middle of May. So Max Scherzer still kind of feel like, I know it is July, so it's like not really like mid-early season anymore, but for him, it's still like he's played basically half of it. So it's up and down. And like there was a lot of good in this start again. Like the whiffs like were good. His fastball but had a lot more life again. 7 whiffs with that pitch and 4 with the curveball. 15 whiffs overall for 7 strikeouts and 5 innings, which is a good number, especially for a Padres team. Doesn't really strike out a ton. But the slider, still just not really like perfect. He can't locate it exactly how we're used to doing it. Machado rushed one in the first inning that hung right over the middle of the plate. And Manny Machado hit it out and looked like he was very happy to do it. And then he kept falling it in between, like a little too far off the plate and then getting a little bit too much plate. So it's either getting fouled off or put in play, or they just weren't offering at it. And it's that kind of in between. It's that like 1.5 inches in either direction, which is like that's just a little bit where that pitch is missing right now and why he's just being this guy who is maybe right now like 10-15% better than league average rather than the guy we saw last year who was a Cy Young candidate.
No, yeah, 100%. Like it's unfortunate. We would have preferred him to pitch better, obviously, but the bats also didn't really show up for this one. Just Joe Musgrove had his way with us again. I mean, there's no way around it. Yeah, I mean, if you're watching the YouTube video, you might see a little something here or there, but there's just like he didn't score. It was off to a weird start too. There was like that weird fly ball in foul territory in the first inning where Brett Beatty looked like he caught the ball, but the umpire called that it hit the net. And then when you challenge it, you can't really tell if it does or doesn't hit the net because it might have hit it too high up to where a camera physically isn't. So you just can't overturn it. And then the next pitch or 2 pitches later, line drive down the left field. Tommy Pham hurts his groin on a throw, trying to throw it back into the field. He comes out of the game. Mark Canha comes in. By the way, Mark Canha continues to play good baseball. Another double with 2 RBIs. Get this guy in the lineup more often. But yeah, it was just like, it's unfortunate. At least we're going into the All-Star break here, so there's going to be an extended period of rest for a guy like Tommy Pham to get back. Feels like just a good little break for the Mets in general. Get their mind back, get going, get ready for a hot second half, hopefully. Because, of course, there's still a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of ground to make up. Got to be fighting for the wild card right now is the most realistic way to get into the playoffs. Just got to play better baseball in the second half. I think it's that simple. Finish the second half, I think, strong, relatively speaking, like we said this last week. Was good. This was good Mets baseball. This is what we'd expect from the team all season long. You're going to lose a couple games here and there, especially like the Blake Snell one. But overall, I think playing better baseball going into the All-Star break, just continue on it in the second half.
Yeah, I think also Snell's been really taking the headlines, but Joe Musgrove also over his last 8 starts has an ERA right hovering around 2. He's been lights out also after a bad like first month of his season that was even a month and a half late because he had that broken toe, I think, from a weightlifting accident in spring training.
Yes.
And then we did have like chances to score against today though. Like second inning, 2 men on, Alvarez sharply hit ball, double play. And then we had bases loaded in the 4th, and DJ Stewart Alvarez ball strike out, top pitches from Blake Snell. Like you had your opportunities, and it's just about like getting that timely hit. And that's the big difference this team. Like for most of this week though, they were getting that hit, and that was a nice place to be. But you can kind of see like it is kind of became like a microcosm for the first half, just the way that this week ended. Because like you came in so hot, you won that huge game Friday night. Was Verlander on the bump off Darvish, who's been like a boogeyman for the Mets. You're like, all right, let's split against these 2 sub pitchers. You're still Scherzer on Sunday, win both series of the year against the Padres, and you go in the second half feeling really good. Now you just go in the second half still feeling kind of okay. Kind of still like that little bit of disappointment that creeps back in. And, 6 teams under 500, 16 behind the Phillies, who I think have that last wild card spot right now. Like, it's not possible. It's not even close to impossible. It's you just got to play a lot of good baseball. And this team is
100%. Yeah, no, got to start winning more games than you lose. You keep doing that, keep winning series as we go throughout the second half. The Mets will be able to find themselves in a much better place competing for a wild card spot, which is totally in the realm of possibility. But yeah, I mean, this is a weird episode because, of course, we have nothing to preview. We do have something to preview. I lied because estimate for the first half is over. James, you will be a full kit. I won't say the word because we don't want Vito to have to bleep anything. But James is going full jersey, cleats, hat, eye black. You're wearing eye black. You choke. You have to wear eye black.
I don't want to wear eye black. Why have to wear eye black? Why is that the sticking point? I'm going to be click-clacking with metal cleats. Why do I have to wear eye black? But yeah, those
because you got to embrace it.
For me. I lost 6 in a row to end the first half here. I literally needed to win one to force a tie. And I know anytime it's physical or mental competitions, you guys saw spring training, like I will defeat Mark in that. So just losing outright though is a real travesty. I know John's grinning behind the camera right now. He's so happy that I have to do the punishment. That's all he wants. But yeah, I'm gonna have to wear a full kit. We're a full kit for a jersey. Hopefully get some help with that. And I don't know, we'll let you guys know when that's happening.
Wait, are you gonna be wearing a Shiano jersey? Because I think that's a little more embarrassing too. Is it going to be a Shiano jersey or is it going to be like a player jersey?
I don't really want to. I think a player's bad too. I think they're both pretty bad. I don't know. I'll defer to you guys. I have the pinstripe one from when we recorded that first last year. It says James on the back. So you guys can just get me some pinstripe pants. Give me some blue socks. Actually, no socks. I'm gonna wear low pants.
No, you got to wear the socks high. If you're not doing the eye black, you're wearing high socks.
All right, I'll do eye black then and keep my socks low.
Okay, there you go. That's fine.
High socks around the ballpark would be ridiculous. I don't know if I can handle that. I mean, maybe we'll see. We'll see how much fun I'm willing to have that day. But yeah, I'm gonna be full kit at the Sunday game. I don't know, probably sometime in August. I'm guessing August, maybe September. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll see what the vibes are. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much it. We're going to have a second half preview for you guys out later this week. So keep an eye out for that because that'll be a lot of fun. We'll talk about a lot of stuff, talk about the MLB draft as well because it's currently happening as we go. And the Mets have the 32nd overall pick. So we'll talk about that. Otherwise, I think that's it. Let's wrap it up here. Make sure you guys are following us on all our social media at Mets'd on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to the New York Mets YouTube channel for the video version of this and download, subscribe, review, rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, whatever it is you listen on. Follow James on Twitter at
James_Shiano.
And me, Giraffe Neck Mark with a C. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. And we will catch you after the All-Star game for a second half preview of the New York Mets. Peace out.
Peace out. See you guys next time.